getting our video up and making sure our audio with Roger is working. There's the video. Roger, can you say hey to everybody?
Hey everybody, good to see you.
All right. We are good.
I think I heard Pastor Messer. Who's that? Oh, hey, Doug. I don't see you.
I'm going to move it around, let you see everybody here. Over there's Doug. See him?
Hey, Doug. Way in the back.
We're going to do a slow scan so you can see who all's still left at the end of the conference. The faithful few.
So,
all right.
Good to see you all.
Okay. I've asked Roger to begin to talk to us and let us know first about his update on his health, talk about Chloe and the situation there and where they are now in Kenya because of that, and then to talk to us about ministry, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. Okay? So Roger, we're just turning it over to you, bro, okay? And like I said, we have 30 minutes, so that's free time. And you talk to us, and then we'll ask you some questions at the end, okay?
Absolutely, yep. Sounds good. All right, well, I'm glad to see all of you. And it's 8:30 p.m. here in Kenya, so Chloe is in bed, and my wife is downstairs talking on the phone on another call. She might be able to make it up here in a little while. But our day is winding down now. And Mark wanted me to talk a little bit about what's our situation and my health. I'll talk about my health in a minute, because that is kind of a side issue of where our situation is right now. So 2022 has been probably one of the busiest years that I can ever remember for us since the beginning of the year, starting early in January. And the reason it's been so busy is I'm not talking to you from my home in Kitale. I'm talking to you from somebody else's home that we're staying in a place called Kijabe. I know it sounds a little similar. Kitale is our home. Kijabe is where we are at right now. And we're going to be in this place for a couple of months. And so let me just backtrack and let you know what's been going on with us since the beginning of the year. Hopefully everybody there knows our current situation with Chloe. Chloe is our daughter, our Kenyan daughter. She is now 7 years old. And Chloe has been diagnosed on the autism spectrum. And with autism, that can mean a lot of different things depending on the case of the person. For Chloe, it means violent outbursts and severe meltdowns and very little emotional regulation. It also means some learning challenges as well as some physical challenges. When you add all of that together, it just means that Chloe has a lot of challenges in her life. And it also means that Julie and I have a lot of challenges in our lives in trying to help Chloe mature and be, for lack of a better word, functional. And so we really needed some help, and because it was really getting to the place where we were having a really hard time with Chloe, and we just felt like Chloe needed some help, and Julie and I also needed some help. So we had been trying to get help for Chloe in the Kitale area and even in the Eldoret area, which is about an hour and a half drive from Kitale. It's the biggest town near to where we live. And every time we would reach out to a doctor or a physician or a therapist or whatever in the Kitale Eldoret region, things just did not work out. And ultimately, we would reach out to a doctor or a physician, and they were supposed to be an expert. And the response we almost always got was from the doctor. They would say, hey, to Julie, "Hey, Julie, wow, you know more about this than we do. Maybe you can come to the office and teach us how to better manage autistic children." And we're like, well, that's not why we came to you. We came to you for help, not to teach you how to deal with autistic children. So ultimately, it just was not helpful. In the Kitale region, there was nobody that had any experience whatsoever. And actually, what happens in the Kitale region for kids that are on the autism spectrum, they oftentimes get locked in a room, and they spend their entire lives locked in a room. It's really bad. So anyway, beginning of the year, we decided that something had to happen. And so Julie was sleeping one night. She woke up and remembered that we had some friends who had a son, American friends, who had a son that was working as an occupational therapist in a town called Kijabe. And there's a mission hospital there, and Julie just woke up remembering that one day. And 17 days later, we found ourselves in Kijabe, living in Kijabe, a half a mile from the mission hospital, with a team of therapists and physicians that are willing to try and help us with Chloe and her development. I say 17 days, that may not sound like a whirlwind to you, but it was definitely a whirlwind to us. And so, there was a lot that transpired. We really felt like God was moving us to this place, at least temporarily, so that we could seek help for Chloe and seek help for us. So February 1st, we found ourselves here in Kijabe. It's a miracle that the house that we're living in right now opened up for a few months so we could be here. We feel like it was God orchestrating everything as far as the therapists and the doctors at the Kijabe Mission Hospital. We just feel like God was orchestrating all of that. And so since February 1st, we've been here, and Chloe has been going up to the hospital to see the therapists about 3 times a week so far. In addition to that, she's also been seeing some specialists in Nairobi because Kijabe, in Kitale, where we were living, that was about an 8 to 9 hour drive to Nairobi. And in Kijabe, we are, sorry, I'm trying to kill a mosquito. We don't let them live here, not with all the diseases they carry. Anyway, Kijabe, where we're living right now, is only about an hour's drive from Nairobi. So we're also able to get Chloe to some specialists in Nairobi. She's been there to see an ABA therapist, which may or may not work out. We're not sure yet. She's been there to see a developmental pediatrician. She's going to see a gastro Yes, something like that, because she has a lot of stomach and intestinal problems. So not only do we have this team that's able to assist us right here in Kijabe, but we're also only from Nairobi, and we've taken advantage of some of that as well. Our goal is to be able to get to a place where we can help Chloe mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and hopefully, just get her to a better place. And if that can happen, then our family can also be in a better place. Because I don't know, raising special needs children is very challenging to the entire family. And we just, again, felt like the whole family unit really needed a lot of help. So that's what has brought us to Kijabe, and we hopefully have some things now in place where Chloe can begin to get some of this assistance, and we can get some of the assistance that we need to move forward. And we really do feel like God has done a lot to put all of this into place. And also one of the things that kind of was a side issue, and this is where I'm getting back to my own health now. I have a really bad sleep apnea. And in case you don't know what sleep apnea is, that's where you wake up frequently in the night where you're not breathing. And I, for one, think breathing is important. So, but the thing is, I didn't even know I was waking up. I have to, it's my wife that tells me that I wake up all the time gasping for air in the middle of the night. And so that was kind of dangerous. But, I kind of ignored it for the last couple of years because there wasn't a whole lot I could do. But once we got to Kijabe, we were told that there's a world-class American ENT specialist that works here at the hospital. And he was going to be here he's been here for 7 years, but he's only going to be here for a couple more months. And so I went and saw him, and he said he thought he could help me based on what, he saw in my throat and in my nose. And so 3 weeks after we arrived in Kijabe, I was in the hospital getting surgery from this world-class ENT American missionary doctor. And he did what was called a U3P. And don't ask me what it stands for. He's told me a number of times. I can't say it, so I'm not even going to try. But basically, what it involved was a number of procedures in my nose and in my throat to try and help me with sleep apnea, and I guess I snore too. A number of things. So I had a deviated septum. He cleared out my nasal passages. He did some other things up in my nose. He removed my tonsils. He removed my adenoids. He removed my, what's that thing that dangles down in the back of your throat? Uvula. Okay, he removed that. He did some other things in my throat. It was a number of things. And so it was kind of invasive, and afterwards he told me that I had, my adenoids were unusually large, and he was sending them to pathology. He told me that I had chronic tonsillitis, and that it was probably a really good thing that we ended up taking care of this, because it could have caused some problems going forward. So I stayed overnight in the hospital. It was probably the most miserable night of my entire life. And it wasn't because of the pain. They had me pretty doped up, thankfully. It just was, it's a mission hospital. It's a good hospital, but it's still a hospital in Kenya. And what I tell people is that everything that, you know, you could think of that could make your stay overnight more comfortable, they took it away. I mean, it's like it was designed to make you feel miserable. And so I was miserable. I was supposed to stay 2 nights in the hospital. And the next morning, the first morning, when the doctor came in to see me, I said, "Doc, I feel great. You got to send me home. I can't stay in this place one more night." And it wasn't true. I didn't feel great, but I had to go home. And so he sent me home. And since then, I've been recovering. It's been a month and it's been 4 weeks and a day since my surgery. And I don't know if you can tell, my voice is not quite back where it was, but, and I can't eat everything yet, but at least I'm not on a liquid diet, which I was for a week and a half. And I lost 14 pounds in 10 days on that diet. So I'm eating better now. And apparently, Julie tells me, I can't verify this, I'm just going by what she says, but apparently I'm sleeping without gasping and waking up every couple minutes at night. So it appears that the surgery may have been effective. And that's good news. So that was just kind of like God threw that in as a bonus for us being here in Kijabe and near the mission hospital. So yeah, so that's where Chloe's at. That's where we're at. That's where I'm at physically. Now, as far as ministry is concerned right now, the things in Kitale, we've put on hold. And that's, you know, there's good reason for that. We're not anywhere near where Kitale is. And so the things that we were doing in Kitale are currently on hold. And our focus, at least for while we're here, is to try and get all of the help and the assistance for Chloe that we can get while we're here. And we don't know right now, we don't know exactly what our future holds. We don't know where God is going to take us in the immediate and far future. But for the few months, I think we've got this place until the end of July. And so we'll be here till the end of July. And then after that, we just, we don't know exactly what God has planned, whether it's to return to Kitale, stay longer here in Kijabe. We're not 100% sure yet. And so we're just kind of still waiting on God to give us some final direction. We think we might know, but I don't want to say anything until I feel like God has really given us the final direction. So there, Mark, I talked for 19 minutes, so that only leaves you guys 10 minutes to ask me any questions you might want to ask. And I'm going to take a drink because my voice, I think, is already starting to go.
All right. Who would like to be first? Brother Doug, come over where he can see you if you can.
Hey, Roger, quick question. Being in Nairobi, is that going to help you at all be able to zero in on some Chloe immigration papers or get her, I don't know, would that help being closer to Nairobi?
I think it could ultimately help if we were closer to Nairobi. The problem with immigration and Chloe is still the moratorium on her adoption. The government, right when Chloe came to live with us as our legal guardian daughter, and we were in the process of adopting, the Kenyan government shut down all foreign adoption of Kenyan national children. and they have not opened that up again. And so there is still a moratorium on that. And until they lift that, we're still prohibited from adopting. Now, as far as maybe traveling with her, Doug, I wish if I had an hour, I could express the horrors of trying to get a passport for her. Legally, we are allowed to get one. We've been given permission from the courts of Kenya to obtain a passport for Chloe, but that doesn't mean that the immigration department allows us to do it. And we've just had problem after problem after problem, and every problem requires about 9 months to resolve, and it's just been an absolute nightmare trying to get it. We haven't given up, but I don't have any hope either that we'll get one. So that's kind of where that is. It's not impossible, but my hope in the system and faith in the system is completely gone. So I'm not expecting it anytime in the near future.
All right. Anyone else? Anyone else have a question or comment? Yep. Jonathan.
Hey, brother. I don't know if you remember me or not, but we spent a Super Bowl Sunday together in West Kentucky. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, that was the only football game I'd seen in like 3 years.
My question for you is, I think your daughter, Amy, is that right, is getting married very soon. Are you guys going to be able to come home for that?
I think I'm allowed to announce that at this point. Yes, my second daughter, Amy, is engaged and has a date to be married on the 22nd of May. My wife is here now, by the way. And so yes, Julie and I are going to be making a blitzkrieg run to the United States and back to Kenya. So it's going to be 2 weeks total. Travel there, do a little bit of wedding stuff, see some family, and then run back to Kenya. And the reason that we would love to stay longer. Julie and I have not been together to the United States in over 8 years. And because we can't get Chloe out of the country, it's been 8 years, Nope. Oh yeah, you're right. Yes. Sorry, she's corrected me. We haven't had a furlough in over 8 years, but we did spend a month in the States when my oldest daughter, Emily, got married 6 years ago. But one of the things that did transpire with that month in the States was it had a really dramatic effect on Chloe. She was only 2 at the time. But the reason we're making a really quick 2-week trip is because we just, we don't feel like we can leave Chloe here for a long period of time without one of us, Julie or I, being in the country. So we've got some friends set up to watch Chloe while we're gone. And so yeah, 2 weeks in May, back to the States, wedding, and then back to Kenya.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right. It's Judd. Judd asked, what verse in Scripture has been a real encouragement to you in the last couple months?
Can I could answer that, but my wife just rattled off a verse that came, immediately after the question. So I'm going to let her say it. Romans 8:18.
Do I have to? Hi. Romans 8:18. The sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. That's the verse that I hold to.
Amen. What a great passage. I can understand why you lean hard on that, especially now. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And if I could say, the only thing that keeps running through my mind is, I will never leave you or forsake you. And we need that in these times too.
Amen. Amen. Okay, folks. Anyone else? Did you hear that?
Thank you, Pastor. And I think I see your lovely wife sitting next to you. Hi, Shirley.
Amen.
Absolutely.
That's the most amens we've heard in this whole conference.
We thank you all for your love and your prayers and your support. And it really means a lot to us to know that you're thinking about us and praying for us. And we definitely need it. It's been very, very hard, very challenging. And these last 2 months, while we've been here in Kijabe, it's been really hard on Chloe. And she knows this is not her house. She knows this is not her home. And it's all new to her. And it's been really hard. So things that, in Kitale, we had kind of been able to settle things a little bit. We had a routine. We had a schedule. We knew how things worked. And then we got here and the whole thing blew up completely. And so the last 2 months have really, really been hard and tiring. And yeah, would you agree? Yeah. So we sure do appreciate your love and prayers and support.
Absolutely. Hang on, Brother Draper wants to ask something, okay?
Hello, Brother Draper.
My wife and I, we can relate to some of the problems you're having with the documentation for Chloe. We received a little girl in our home, and she was 8 days old. She stayed 2 weeks, and my wife says she's not going anywhere. She's staying here. Well, she was about almost 8 years old before we finally got her American passport. So I can relate to that frustration and waiting. We were able to bring her to the States. It was not like you, but and we did the adoption in Brazil, and that took about 2 years. I can relate to that, but the Lord is still on the throne, and He can help you get there. So we'll be praying for you about that.
Yeah, thank you for that. Do I have to say goodbye now, or can I just follow up on what he just said?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, we wish more than anything that we could adopt right now, and we're in waiting mode.
And there is some hope that at the end of this year, after our election, we will have a new president, because this president has been here for 2 terms. So there is a little bit of hope from Kenyan adoption societies that they can reintroduce legislation at the end of the year to try to open that back up. So that's something that we can be praying for.
But Brother Draper, what you said really rang a bell, because Chloe came to live with us. She was 1 month old.
She weighed 2 pounds.
She weighed 2 pounds. That was October 20th, something like that.
17th.
And 3 weeks later, we said to ourselves, and she's not going anywhere. She's staying with us. So it's the same wording, yeah. And it's about the same time. 3 weeks later, we're like, no, she's not going anywhere. She's staying here.
All right.
And even with all,
go ahead.
I wouldn't change it. Even with all the difficulties, I wouldn't change it at all.
Amen. And we love and appreciate that about both of you. I'll tell you what I want to do before we go. I'm going to have your pastor pray for you, okay? We want him to intercede on your behalf. Huh?
Good.
Somebody had asked before he prays, are there any particular needs that you have that we need to know about? As far as any needs that we can meet besides the prayer request you've already brought.
Can you think of anything?
Just cost of an extra nanny, or I don't know. There's just therapy and it's expensive. I don't know. I can't be specific because we haven't figured that out.
Well, sorry,
We hate answering that question.
That question is hard.
It's okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a lot of extra expenses. I know there's extra
Yes.
expenses because they're staying there. They still have their home in Katali. So if the Lord moves on your heart to designate some extra offerings to them, that would be a blessing.
Yeah. Okay. How was that answer?
I think he answered better than I could.
All right. Can he pray for you now?
Yes, please.
Father, you know how special this couple is to me, to our church, to my wife. But Lord, I know this, they are so very special to you. And you've told us in your word that you're ordering their steps. And you take delight in each one of those steps because you already see the end for which those steps are designed. And while we stumble and ask the question why, we know that you have a good purpose in all that you do. And that you're loving them in ways we cannot even fathom. Oh, the depth of the riches and the wisdom and the knowledge of you, our God. And I commit them to you. I commit Chloe to you. Lord, how this young lady has captured all of our hearts. And Lord, I'm looking to you through this process that is going on right now. That the ordering of her life is going to be so much better because of the investment that is being made in her by her mom, her dad, by all who are surrounding her right now with professional care. But Lord, most of all, because you are pleased to use that to manifest your glory in and through her as you work through all of these. Father, for the days ahead, we just commit Roger and Julie and Chloe to you. Give them peace for each day, even in the midst of the turmoil that comes because of the disruption of Chloe's life. That, Lord, that inner peace, I pray for that. That inner strength, that inner joy. Lord, put your big arms of love around them and love them as only you can in these hours. Thank you, Father, for them, for their willingness to serve you in Katali. Lord, in the words of Carrie, help us to hold the ropes as they've descended into the pit to bring men and women out of the darkness in Kenya. Lord, thank you for who you are and for what you'll do. In Jesus' name.
I think you all have got a pretty good one there.
With our pastor?
Yeah.
Yeah, we think so too.
Yeah,
He's all right.
we agree. We agree. I mean, I've been attending Emmanuel Baptist Church since 1980, so he's been my pastor for 42 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I was 1 year old then.
He was 1 year old then. Daryl said he was only 6. All right, listen, we love you all very dearly, and thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and that we got to see you. And you are in our prayers, and we'll get the word out about some of your needs too, okay?
Thank you. God bless you all.
God bless. Say bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Click leave.
All right. At this point, can we switch things around and do the congregational first? Because I'm singing the special, and I need to take his stuff back there. So let's do the congregational, then I'll come back and share a song, and then we'll have Bruce preach.
While they're doing that, let me just say a word concerning Roger and Julie. Each step they've been taking, they have done so seeking counsel from Brother Dave Parks and myself on behalf of BFM and their local church to make sure that what they're doing has our blessing. And I just want to affirm to all of you, every step they're taking has the full blessing of their home church as well as the directors of Baptist Faith Missions. And they aren't doing any of this just on their own. They're coming and saying, give us counsel. And I appreciate that so much about them.